Hi everyone, welcome to FuristicStudio. I am currently working on lightning for my own game, Penance, which you can check out on the Steam. It's still in the development phase. Everything I have learned during this process, I am sharing here on YouTube so you guys can watch and learn along with me. In the very first episode, we are going through the basics of light, how it works, and how different lighting setups can change the mood and emotions of the mind. Today, I'll only be showing different presets to demonstrate how our brain perceive things. In further episodes, I will teach you step by step how to create these different emotions through lightning. Let's get started. So, the very first question here is, what is light? We will skip any textbook definitions here. For us in 3D and game dev world, light is just a wave. Imagine Imagine a beam of sunlight as a bundle of seven different colors. Basically, a rainbow packed tightly together into one white ray. Now, we will take a simple example of a red ball. How do we actually know the ball is red? What happens here? The white light coming from any light source, when it hits any surface, a red ball, the ball acts like a sponge. It absorbs every single color except for red. The red wave bounces off the ball right into our eyes. That bounce is how we actually see a color. And this happens for almost every single object in the world. Now, in digital art, we look at this bouncing light on the scale from 0 to 1. 0 is absolute extreme, means a pure black color. This means the object eats 100% of the light and reflect almost nothing. On the opposite side of it, there is a pure white color. This means the object reflects 100% of the light and absorbs nothing. And by the basic rule of mathematics, as we all know that between 0 to 1, there are infinite many decimal numbers. We can't count numbers between 0 to 1. So it is very rare for any object to reflect just one pure ray. What if an object reflects 40% of the red wave and 60% of the blue wave? You get some shade of purple. So everywhere in 3D world is just a mathematical fraction of a bouncing light between 0 to 1. Now let's talk about the golden rule for cinematics and game dev. We almost avoid both the extreme values 0 and 1. And why we do this? The answer is very simple, because the pure black color and the pure white color do not exist in real life. So if we ever put 0 or 1 in our game or in our cinematic project, the human brain instantly knows it's fake, because our brain is not trained to perceive the both values of colors. So unless you have a very specific artistic reason, avoid using both extreme values. Okay, so what if I told you that lightning a 3D scene isn't just about making things bright enough to see? Lightning is a secret language to communicate different kind of emotions. And today in our first episode, we will start with some real world physics of light, how it controls human emotions, and finally how to use it in any 3D software to tell a story. Now, let's talk about the communication of emotions through lighting. Why does lighting change how we feel? It's simple, because human brain are trained through cognitive memory to recognize certain color patterns. We have watched movies and cartoons our whole lives. So our brain instantly links certain light setup to specific feelings or emotions. To prove this, I have this unlit lookout scene. We are keeping the camera angle and all the assets exactly the same, and we will change only the light setup and see how our brain quickly recognize the theme, the emotion through different lighting setups. Okay, so firstly we have our fresh preset. To show you how this works, I have already created a few presets, so we can look at the result first. Later in further episodes, I will teach you how to create all the presets from the scratch. Okay, so the first thing you will notice here is the visibility is crystal clear. You can see almost every detail from the trees to the mountains. Our light source, and the main light source is sun, the direction light is the main light source, is positioned slightly to the right, and the intensity of the light is at decent level. It's not very bright, not dull, but it's still a sharp lightning intensity. I also added a bluish shade. If you can see in the lighting, in the direction light, you can see a slight bluish shade to give it a fresh look. Now, if we move the camera inside the lookout tower, notice that we don't have a big lamp in here. We are mostly relying on indirect lighting. We don't have any light source inside the room. We are completely using indirect lighting to lit up the room. You can see here every color is bright and more saturated. We don't use dull tones in these kind of setups. Now our next preset is prosperous. In this kind of lighting setup, we use usually the large lightning source. The sun is very large, a little bit of camera bloom to create a beautiful dawn. In games or cinematics, this indicates that we have succeeded, but there is a still a long road ahead. That we have done a great job, but we have to do more task, more work in the near future. A very great example of this setup is the opening scene of Last of Us Part 2. In the Part 1, we have saved Ellie, but now for the Part 2, we have much left to face, or the Pixar up. You can see when the main character, our older man, gets to know that his wife is gonna die and she's getting older. Now you can compare both the scenes. The one when they have a great life, they both are young. Even look, he's tired, but still, you can see from the lighting setup, it's a fresh kind of presets, the bright colors, soft shadows. But if we move to the time when they both get old and he knows that his wife is gonna die soon, they spend a great time together, they spend a good time together, but in the near future he knows that she's gonna die. So they set up lighting in a way that we already know that the mood shifting from fresh to a dull kind of scene, that the coming future is is very tiring. It doesn't mean the future is you know sad ending or the future is sad. It doesn't mean that. It means that we have a lot of things to face in the future. Okay, so the third one is isolated. What's the first thing you notice? The light source, the main light source, the sun. The light source is gone from the screen. You can see we can't able to see where our main light source is. It's a little bit shifted towards the left side of the screen. On the top of that, I lowered the saturation to give it something like isolated, the dull kind of vibe. You are living alone in the forest. So when you remove the color and hide the main light, it gives you a lone vibe, the more kind of post apocalyptic movies. The brain immediately feels lonely, isolated, and cold type of vibes. And for the interior, you can see we have indirect lighting, but it's not as much as in the fresh preset. As you can see, we can't able to see the ceiling properly. Even we have indirect lighting still, to give it a dull vibe, we don't use sharp colors. Even all the assets are same, even all the things are same, the camera position is same. Still, you can feel the dullness in the scene, the less saturation, because you can only see the lower half of the room. You can see the upper half, the ceiling is almost black out. You can see the shapes, the objects, but it's almost black out. As I told earlier, that we don't use extreme values like 0 and 1 in lightning setup. So we can't just take the upper half and make it completely black. Here you can see I don't make it completely black. You can still able to see the books on the shelf, the painting on the left side, the lamp, the ceiling, the wooden ceiling, but still they are black out. Now the next one is the creepy. This is kind of deep bluish night scene that gives off a witchy kind of vibe. Um, where did our brain learn this? In our childhood cartoons, think of like Tom and Jerry or Scooby Doo. Those deep blue nights instantly mean something spooky is happening. The purplish blue shade in the scene. We already, our brain already know that these kind of setups, these kind of colors, lighting setups give creepy vibe. Also, in the interior, interior looks bright, like not bright, but let me turn off the spotlights. Now look, without spotlights, it's completely dark. So in these kind of setups, when we use night scenes, we have to use artificial lights like spotlights, rec lights. What are those? We will study furthermore in further episodes. But think of it like artificial lights. We have to use them to prominent our scene, to give our scene a vibe. We use fake lights to highlight the creepiness of the scene. So in the light scene, we can't rely on our big sun or our big moon source. In the night scene, we have to use further lights like rect lights, spotlights, and point lights, different type of lights. We have to use them. Otherwise, our project will go into the extreme value state. Like you can see when I turn off the spotlights, completely black. We can't see anything. Now move to the last one, the dangerous preset. It's pretty easy. Unlike the creepy blue, this is more aggressive. We have harsh colors, reddish colors. The light source is massive, and you can see its place in the center of the screen to show the intensity of the situation. In this scene, we have extreme intensities, sharp light blooms, and everything is pretty sharp. The colors, the shadow, there are almost no soft shadows inside. Now, even in the interior, you can see everything is in reddish tone. Everything is sharp, and we don't use soft lights here. We only rely on hard lights. In this scene, we are totally using the sunlight and no interior light, but still you can use, but make sure to use hard colors, not the soft ones like blue, green, not these colors. The colors which show hard intensity, try to use them. Now, why did your mood change 5 different times even though the trees, the mountains, and the watchtower never moved? The answer is simple. It's because how our brain is wired. When you look at these scenes, your brain isn't just looking for the pixels, it's looking for the secret code to decode. When the brain sees bright, balanced lights, it decodes it as a safety and health. When it sees low angle, warm lights, it triggers an old survival instinct. That's why you felt the creepy and the dangerous vibes. That's all for the first episode. I wanted to show you how much of a difference simple lighting can make to a single scene. In the coming episodes, we are going to dive deeper. We will learn how to build these setups from the start, how to mix different moods to create something entirely new, and most importantly, how to look at your own scene and decide exactly what the mood should be. I'll be sharing all the tips and tricks I have picked up. In the episode 2, we are getting into the technical side. We will cover the basics of light and look at how a style like Cyberpunk manages to use thousands of light while still keep the performance smooth. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the Penance on stream, and I'll see you in the next one.